Okay, there is a place with a very long table in it, and frequently sit at this table the people who run the world. Not talking about prime ministers and kings, talking about families. I'm talking about organizations. At the top of this table is a throne. On that throne sits Satan. These people come from one triangle, one temple. At the top of the temple is Freemasonry. At the bottom of the temple is Freemasonry. And in the middle is Freemasonry. Around Freemasonry, there's the education system. There is, say, the Vatican. I mean, people within it. I don't mean the Pope. I mean, people within it. There is, inside the priesthood, there are the Satanists, the Satanisms, the Lutherans, and people who, like Elon Musk, who deal with public domain. Behind the camera that films things, we don't really know who it is. I can write on a box, this was made by free roam animals, but really it was made by a 3D printer somewhere with 8% human meat, 2% horse meat, and the rest is all plastics. When we choose to go against God, we bring evil into the world. Sin is like a virus. Have you ever been thinking about someone or something and they call you, or you're looking at someone from behind and you're thinking something bad about them and they turn around and look at you like, what are you doing? But they didn't see you there. Everything that we do has a consequence. Now, back in the 70s, the 80s, there was a high-ranking wizard within the temple. And within that temple, various organizations. One of these organizations was the Freemasons. Inside that was a sector of witchcraft, magic, sorcery. And he went to the, what's that lodge called? That place where they do all the evil things. Bohemian Grove. And he approached one of the high wizards and said, there was a billionaire there. And he said, I want to place a hex. Okay? In this hex, I want homosexuality. I want this homosexuality to appear in every TV show, every kids program, every film, every advert. And inside these programs, I want there to be the main character, if not the main character, the most lovable character, to be homosexual. Now, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, homosexuality was still a bit, kept under not underground, but And he thought, okay, that's a bit weird, and he said, you'll have to make a donation to our organization, which he did before. So this high wizard done it. Now look what we got. Every sitcom, every show, every advert, every film, every shop, there's now LGBTQIA2 plus whatever it is now, clothing in kids ranges, adult ranges. They've got their own sections. They're on coffees, they're on sandwiches, they're in Starbucks, they're in Costa, they're in McDonald's. They're even now inside the church. They're in over half of Netflix children's side of things has LGBTQIA2 plus propaganda in it. And it is propaganda. When it's everywhere, on everything, it's propaganda. Not an advert, not advertising. They're not celebrating. It becomes propaganda. Once every so often, these people sit at that table I mentioned. Now, in hell, there is a table the same. And the high-ranking demons and devils sit down. Everything is structured. Everything is strategic. Everything. Sin hasn't changed since the Garden of Eden because we don't change. Most of us lack a very, very elementary based level of prayer. Most of us aren't praying a rosary every day. Most of us don't know about the Auxilium Christianorum prayers. Most of us don't go to Mass. Those of us that do go to Mass, there's only about 20, 30, 25% that believe in the true presence of Christ in the Eucharist. Half of those don't go to confession. Like Jesus said, when I return, will I find faith? Barely. That's why a quarter of us are going to make it. Anyway, point is, hella strategic. And everything we see, watch, hear, has gone through the system behind the system, i.e., Freemasons. Why do you think the symbolism is in everything? Why do you think that Gmail? Why do you think that Facebook? Why do you think that every service out there has in it a symbol related to Freemasonry? Why is it that all of these Hollywood people thank Satan and mock Jesus? If it's not real, why do they all do it? Why are they all throwing up hand signals? Why are the top stars on the planet names on the Epstein Island? Why was the biggest thing at Epstein Island Satanism? It's everywhere. It is everywhere. The Nickelodeon logo is the same shape as Epstein Island. It's right in your faces, and you don't see it. I'm a nobody. I pray daily. I fast. I do the bare minimum. I feel like I do a lot, but I do the bare minimum. Very sinful person. No better than you. No better than anyone else. We're all the same under God. Point is, yes, Freemasonry is behind everything. The Rothschild go back hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. And Satan, he's been here since day one. When it says in the Bible that he was sent to earth, not to hell, to earth. It says that hell was created for the demons and their angels, but it says he was sent down to earth. That is why the earth is in such a state, because we have forgotten God. Sin is like venom. The Spider-Man venom, where it sticks to you and everything else, and it shoots out. That's what it's like when we sin. When we sin against other people, they go and sin against someone else, and they go and sin about someone else. And it just... That's why the world's in such a state. That's why the church is in such a state. It's said that the worst punishment God can mete out on his people. Bad priests. Look at it today. Church has been infiltrated at the very top level. Very top level. To the very bottom level. Freemasonry is in everything. Programs, TV, radio, the news. The news, stop watching it. Stop watching it. They're not going to tell you anything. It's been prophesied that when Jesus gives us the illumination of conscience, which is very soon. There's a book called The Warning by Christine Watkins. If you haven't got one of these images in your home, get it. Here it is. Read it. Read it. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. So is the book of Revelation. But read it. The illumination of conscience is what comes before the tribulation. Tribulation is 7 years. Jesus said, I will return on the third day. I think it was St. Peter said that one day to God is like 1,000 years unto us. Third day begins in 2033. So, the 7-year tribulation would start this year. St. Padre Pio said it will be a very cold night. Yes, Freemasonry is the cause of most things, but the devil is behind every evil because he is the origin of evil. Turn to Christ.